and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public, informational, nonpartisan program designed to get the public acquainted with the candidates that are vying for this 2024 general election with the races of Kaiser City Mayor, Kaiser City Council, Marion County Sheriff, Senate District 9, House Districts 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and congressional districts 5 and 6. These interviews come to you through the producers at Capital Community Media with collaboration on questions and interviewers from the American Association of University Women and the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties. All candidates for these races were invited, and 65% chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions that were prepared by the League of Women Voters ahead of time. Candidates have been invited to prepare a 2-minute opening statement addressing their background and their qualifications for the office. They will also have 2-minute closing remarks for sharing contact information and any other points they wish to make. So today, I am Bernadine Anderson, from the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk counties, and I have the pleasure to introduce Virginia Stapleton, who is running for House District 21. Candidate Stapleton, would you like to now share your opening 2-minute remarks?
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much for having me today. It's a privilege to be with you and to talk with voters and reach folks in this way. When folks ask to know a little bit about me, I always share that I am born and raised here in the Salem-Keizer area. And I was born into a really big family. I have 11 brothers and sisters, if you can believe that. And that upbringing has really played into who I am as a person, like so many folks. I had a wonderful upbringing with parents and family who loved me immensely, but struggled with a lot of different challenges growing up and a lot of different traumatic experiences, leading to really a not traditional experience in our public schools. I disassociated for most of my elementary school and was kept home for our middle school years, and then back to high school where I dropped out as a sophomore. And that really has played a big role in my upbringing and in my life experiences. I then went to work, of course, and if you grow up poor, you idolize work, and that's what I did. But one really great thing did come from my school years, and that was meeting my husband, Isaac. We got married at 21 and have two wonderful children. We bought our first home here in the district 17 years ago, and our two kids are public school kids here at North and Parish in Northeast Salem. And I joined City Council 3 years ago after going back to school for my GED and my associate's degree from Chemeketa. And since then, I've been serving our community in a variety of ways and loving every minute of my time on council, from passing our $300 million infrastructure bond, the R Salem housing package, and really investing in our unsheltered crisis here. So many really great opportunities to serve our community, and I'm thrilled to be running for House District 21 to continue the work at the state level. Thanks so much for having me today.
Thank you. Well, we enjoyed your opening remarks, and now we look forward to hearing your responses to some questions that we have for you today. We're going to start with this one. Do you believe Oregon has the resources to provide adequate access to affordable, quality health care for Oregonians?
Well, I think that healthcare for Oregonians is a huge challenge and something that has to be tackled. When I am on the doors and talking to voters, this is up there in the top 5 things that folks are talking to me about, and ensuring that not only do we have access to good quality healthcare, but also to housing, food security, so many vital things for families. So this is a challenge that every state in the country faces, and the federal government does as well. But it is critical to us continuing on as a wonderful nation that we are, and the beautiful state that we are, ensuring that caring for people comes first and ensuring that those basic needs are met. So that would be my commitment moving forward, ensuring that folks have access to health care, as many people as possible, because that is a critical thing to live a thriving and best life for each of us here in Oregon.
Thank you. Our second question. What do you think is the future of hydropower in Oregon?
Well, I think power in general is something that Oregonians and folks across the country are really going to have to wrestle with over the coming years. I don't think that there is a magic bullet here. I don't think that there is any one easy fix. I think that's where Americans really struggle, particularly. We want it to be easy and fast and hopefully free. And of course, that in really complex issues in facing the globe right now, that's just not available to us anymore. And so making sure that we have a transition plan to green energy is really important, making sure that the energy needs are met today. And that transition plan is really involving everybody in the community. As many people are going to be affected, are at the table and having those conversations with leaders in the state to ensure that we have access to power that we need, but that we are being responsible with our resources and moving towards a green future and ensuring that everybody has access to that power and that our environment stays as pristine as possible.
Thank you. Our next question. What is the role of House District 21 in helping both its cities and the counties with policy and funding issues dealing with houselessness? And what ideas do you support?
Yeah, my experience as a city councilor is critical to this conversation here. When we are talking about the government of last resort, that is your cities, that is your school districts, local jurisdictions here. And we have been faced with taking on this challenge for years now. And we need the state's help in order to provide the services and care for our community that our communities are demanding. And so I believe that our state needs to come alongside cities and school districts and counties in order to support us as we face this huge challenge. I think that the state has been making good headway on that, and we are very happy to see what was happened so far, but we have a long way to go. This is a 40-year issue stemming from our housing crisis, and it's going to take a long time to address the issue, but we have to stay committed to making sure that these frontline workers in our cities, school districts, and counties have the resources they need in order to respond to the crisis at hand.
This is a long question. So lots of words to this one. Oregonians depend upon reliable and affordable energy resources, and you've alluded to that a bit. In order to address issues like climate goals and economic development, how will Oregon meet our state's growing need for electricity while addressing the competing priorities of those that provide the energy and those that produce the energy? And then let's bring into the mix rural and urban areas.
Yeah, so that is a complicated question, and I'm not sure if I am going to answer it all perfectly. So please circle back with me if I don't.
Okay.
So yes, I've alluded to a little bit about how I view energy moving forward and the need for it, the need to transition, the need to create community conversations in order to do that. And I think all of that is relevant to the question that you've asked now. But I think I will use this time to respond a little bit to the climate crisis, which I think is at the base of all of these conversations. And I think that Oregon has a unique opportunity to be a leader in this area. And I know, for example, here in the Salem-Keizer area and in District 21, one of the leading causes for emissions in our area is transportation. And as we look forward to this next session, we are hopefully having a transportation session. That is going to be a conversation that I would really love to be at and be in the room for, because there's so much opportunity for growth in this area. And honestly, as we move forward, we have to look at all of the different ways in which our emissions are coming from and address them as best we can. Again, I do not think that we can buy our way out of climate change, and it cannot come from the next fancy gadget or gizmo. It really has to deal with community conversations about how do we reduce our consumption and how do we move forward responsibly into the future on all aspects, whether that's how we use our energy or where we get it from, and what we are buying from stores, how we are moving about the country. All of those things are really critical to the conversation, and I'm really excited to have those conversations with policy makers, with leaders in industries, and making sure that we're bringing everybody to the table to have those tough conversations to see how we chart a path forward.
I guess the only part of this question I might like to have our listeners hear is there is some work that needs to be done between rural and urban.
Sure.
Your district is an urban one. How do
Mhm.
you see the negotiations between
Yeah.
energy concerns with rural and urban?
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that and asking that direct question because this is really critical. I, as a city councilor, have been a part of League of Oregon Cities for the last 3.5, almost 4 years now, and really worked hard to create a lot of lasting relationships with councilors across the state and mayors across the state. And so often they are frustrated by what happens in Salem, at the Capitol, because so much of that is dictated by our larger cities. And so ensuring that rural Oregon is at the table having those conversations, and that whatever we choose to do moving forward has a positive impact on those communities is going to be critical as we move forward and address the issues.
Thank you. Next question. Can you describe what you consider to be a positive and a negative impact if there's expansion of the urban growth boundaries within our state in order to make room for major semiconductor or advanced manufacturing projects?
Yeah, this is a hard one for us Oregonians. We are passionate about our urban growth boundaries, and for good reason. They are really controlling urban sprawl, and that is a huge contributor to climate change and the loss of farmland around our country. And so that is going to be a passionate topic of conversation as we move forward, no matter where you go in the state. I think a negative is that we would lose farmland, of course, especially here in the Willamette Valley where some of our most fertile ground is. Giving that up to be paved over and houses built on it seems to be not the wisest path forward. But I do understand that in our cities around the country, around the state, they're running out of land that is easy to develop. And so that is where the challenge lies, or the rub lies, because we are also in a housing crisis. So I'm a firm believer in infill and repurposing areas in town before we think about going outside the urban growth boundaries. So coming back into our city centers, repurposing old buildings that are not being used right now, making sure that all of those areas of land throughout the city are utilized to their best capacity is really important. And I also think about the sustainability of our funding for our local jurisdictions in order to provide services to these areas. This is critical. If you are building outside on the outskirts of town, it is taking longer for those services to get to you. It is taking new roads to be built and maintained by the city, new stormwater and water systems, and we do not have the money for that right now. So building from the center of the cities and going back out and making sure that we are as dense as we can be is the most responsible way moving forward to continue to have growth. So I think you can pick out the positives and negatives within my question or my answer there. But if you'd like me to parse that out, please let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You've touched on finances, so
Mm.
let's take a look at that. How do you how does Oregon, or how will Oregon achieve financial stability within the next 10 years? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think we have to have tough conversations with our community. I honestly do. Being a city councilor has really opened up a good understanding for me of measures 5 and 50 and how challenging that has been for cities and school districts and local jurisdictions for the last 40 years. And that has just been devastating to those local governments. And so we have to have a conversation with our constituents about what they want to see moving forward. What kind of services are they ready to give up if they are not willing to have a tough conversation about revenue for local governments? And I think that it's critical that those conversations happen. I'm really proud of the work that we've done on the Salem City Council because we have really forced this conversation out into the public. And so many more people are aware of the struggles that local jurisdictions have. And that is a huge part to tackling the issue, is educating folks on the struggles that we have and starting the conversations about what is the need of our community. What do we want to come around and pay communally for to ensure that we have resources like emergency services, police, fire, ensuring that we have social safety nets like our youth programs or our seniors programs, and things that are, livability things like our parks and our libraries. Those are critical infrastructure parts of our city. And it's going to take those tough conversations about how we move forward, what we're willing to give up, or what we're willing to pay for in the future. So those are those tough conversations. That's what I want to have at the state for sure.
Thank you. We do want to give you time to share your 2-minute closing comments about the goals for your office, or if there's other remarks you'd like to make. And then also share your contact information so public can reach out to you.
Well, thank you, and thanks so much for having me today. I really appreciate being here and the good questions that you asked. I love getting to think about things like that and asking our communities to also ponder deeply the issues that are facing our community. So thank you for your work. And what I would say to voters is that I am running because I have a passion for our community and I want to make things better for everybody. And that has been really my life goal since I started here in Salem and giving everything for my local school district and now for the Salem City Council. And I think that what you've heard from me is that I have a wealth of diverse experiences in my life. And those diverse experiences lead to wisdom and empathy and compassion and a knowing when I go into those rooms and I'm sitting there and listening and making decisions that are impacting people across the state. Knowing that I have had that wealth of experience is really important. And I hope that the constituents here in House District 21 can value that as much as I do as we move forward. It really has been a privilege to even be out on the doors and talking to folks and hearing from them and their stories and how I might be able to help them in the future. So you've heard a lot from me, and I am busy out there talking to voters and hearing from them about what's important. And I'm thrilled to know that my priorities are right there along with everybody else. Housing, mental and behavioral health care, and funding for local governments has been critical and something I hear about on the doors constantly. And as well as probably a big one for the voters here in House District 21 has been ensuring that we have access to reproductive care and healthcare for all. And so those have been really critical to the voters here, and I intend to vote for them in the House and ensure that those things are top of mind for me as we move forward. So folks can reach out to me at electvirginiastapleton.com. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate the vote of people who are like-minded. Thank you so much.
Thank you, candidate Stapleton, for our interview today and for sharing your thoughts. Thanks to Capital Community Media for their extensive technology and producer skills that were used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk County for the design and the preparation of the program. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become an informed voter. For more local, state, national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, please visit vote411.org after September 30th when candidates data is posted. You have until October 15th to either register to vote or make any adjustments to your registration. Ballots go out October 16th and will be accepted and counted if postmarked before or on November 5th. Elections matter. Remember to vote because your vote counts.